going on, everyone? Welcome to new videos. So it's been a couple weeks since I filmed last. I think over the course of the last 2 weeks we've gotten, I would say, 8 to 10 inches of rain. The rivers are full. Fields they're wet here from 2 days ago, but they're drying out pretty good. But the rivers are full, the ditches are full, so anything that's near a ditch still has some water in it, but for the most part, actually the fields are drying out pretty good. So we are still wet. So we did have a window here a couple days ago, I think Monday. It's Wednesday now. Monday was the day that we got probably a ½ inch of rain or so. And just before then, over the weekend, there was a small window that couple guys around here planted. We didn't do anything. For one, we weren't ready, and for two, our soils weren't really ready to go, or to the point where we wanted to go. We're gonna fire up here probably early next week would be my guess. So it is the 29th of April. So right when we get a window open, we're gonna start getting to work. So hopefully here by the end of the week, we're gonna be spreading fertilizer once the fields are solid enough. And then we do have a little bit of fence line cleanup, nothing major, just basically cutting some trees and pushing them into, or trimming some trees and, you know, kind of pushing them into the fence line. A lot of those fence line projects that we really wanted to do this year got pushed off just with everything we had to do. So the sprayer, we did have some stuff changed. We are not going to be ripping this stuff apart to do the rear main. There is a breather coming out of the valve cover, and we're going to check the filters for that and see how good a condition they're in, which I'm guessing they're rough. But those filters, actually, guys have gotten rid of the filters and just ran a tube down the side of the engine, so that basically what happens, those filters get plugged, and then you have excess case or crankcase pressure, and that causes the rear main to leak. So we're gonna try that and see what it does. Putting a new wiring harness for the Gen 2 in this tractor for the bean planter. That one kind of has some kinked wires right by the plug there. So got a new wiring harness for that. So that runs from the back of the Gen 2 back here, and then this is what hooks up to the planter. So I'm gonna try that, and hopefully that fixes that problem. So because it was working fine before we unhooked it, then we went and unhooked it to put the rear wheel weights on, as well as paint the rims, which the rims will have to do a second coat on the outside because these ones, the primer is showing, and we'll have to do a second coat there. But when we hooked it back up, it started glitching out, and it would start shut off, start, shut off, and you'd lose signal to the back of to everything on the planter. And everything was working before, and I did move that around a little bit in there, and I think that those wires finally just pulled apart enough that it's starting to cause some issues. So I'm gonna work on that. I've been kind of also working on trying to get fields entered into cleaning up field view a little bit, switching some fields around, as well as adding some together so there isn't so many fields in there. So basically adding a bunch of smaller fields on one farm into one big field on field view. So I've been kind of working on that, and I've got to figure out a way on how to get my boundaries and fields into that Gen 3. Last year we did it off of Panorama, but I'm not doing Panorama again for now. So I want to I think I'm going to have to hook my iPad up to the Gen 3, put the stuff in there, or put the field borders in there and everything, and then just have it so the field names are in there, so then when I export them with a flash drive to put it into field view, all my data is off there, and then makes that easier, because with this and then the spreader, I want to start tracking that on field view as well. So because especially with this makes a really nice map, and keeping track of spray records and so on and so forth for what we do year to year. So you pay for field view, you might as well use it to its fullest potential. So another thing too, we're also variable rating stuff, or variable rate seeding with the planter. So I'm trying out a few fields of that as well. So I kind of got to get that, make sure everything's set up there, but that's easy, doing making the variable rate maps, because it goes off of yield data as well as the soil types and your data basically that comes off everything over the years. That's tracked on field view, and it makes for actually a pretty cool variable rating map for the fields. So I'm looking forward to trying that. Maybe not so much with helping cut costs with seed, well, that's one of the things, but might help us in overall yield to not having so many plants, not having a blanket rate where you have so many plants, you know, in the spots that don't do as well, and then maybe pushing your populations a little more down in the lower areas where it tends to yield better. So kind of our end goal with that. This is wrapped up. I got all of our fields in here. So I was having a power draw problem here, and I figured out where it was coming from. So we have an adapter down in here in this wiring mess. Sorry for the mess. I have this all kind of ripped apart right now. So there was an adapter that was made so we could get a couple nodes working, so we could get this working with the sprayer more on the mapping side. But the problem we had is that adapter is drawing power somehow. It's not, the receiver's on, and there's a couple other components that stay on. So we're gonna have to mess around with that and see what we gotta do here to fix that issue. But for now, I'm probably just gonna plug it back in the way it was supposed to be here. So here's the adapter. So that'll fire everything back up here. So that's where we're gonna sit on that for now, and I will figure out the rest of that at a different time, because we're gonna have to get this thing moving here pretty quick. So I unfortunately have to take and download all the data onto a USB drive and then manually plug it into Climate View from that Gen 3 with Symphony, because Symphony does, you can't run an iPad in there with Symphony yet. From my understanding, they're going to be possibly getting an adapter here at some point that we can do so. But yeah, and I also have reached BTO status. One of those things that I thought that I was never really going to buy, but here I am. Actually, we all have a set now, so it's actually kind of nice, because you can still do something while you're working or while you're talking on the phone. And the rain just don't want to stop. I thought I was just gonna kind of be, well, we originally weren't supposed to get this, and now then it turned into drizzles, and now it's been raining for a solid hour and a half. So there's that. So probably my plan of being in the field this weekend has just went out the window. So, but hopefully still next week we can get rolling. I feel like it's gonna be a hurry up and throw everything in the ground type of year, so. But it's gonna make it fun. We haven't had a wet spring in the last few years, so I guess it's our turn now, so. All right, I'm just gonna run up here and grab some concrete. I'm gonna get some cardboard here so we don't get a whole bunch of oil all over the concrete. And then I'm gonna take the filters off, or change the filters out for the transmission hydraulic. Well, that's what you get when you let me change filters. So that big one slipped out of my hand, and then that was all over from there. Shot over here and spilled all over the place, so. Never ends, never ends. Yep. All right, well, here are our filters. Those things are plugged. That very well might be our issue. Hopefully.
Well, they ain't good.
No. Hell of a spot to put those. They designed it just that way to piss you off.
It's a lot better than doing the rear main seal.
Yeah, that is true. But something for that needs to probably be maintenance every 1,500 hours or less. So that's gonna wrap up everything for today. I got date night with the girlfriend tonight, or fiance, I should say. So she wanted to go out for dinner, and it rained all day, so nothing's really pressuring. So we're gonna top off the oils on this guy here tomorrow, get everything set up, and we'll do our other hub, and then our filters come in tomorrow, so hopefully both of these will be out of here, and then we'll get the 215 in here. Then at that point, then after we get the 215's stuff done, then the soil finisher can come in here and we can just get that done quick. So plus I want to make sure that that cord works for the bean planter, and cross my fingers that it does. So, and if it doesn't, then I'm sure we got bigger fish to fry at that point. So